Let's get it going, man. Let's get it going. Where the hoes at? I hear that shit all too often. All too often. If you from Texas, goddamn it, I know this has been something you probably done heard a million times over in your life, and I want to use that shit to talk about some real shit. Hell, you mean? What my little co-host said. What's happening? I don't know what's happening. Everybody popping up in this bitch. Tell you. Oh shit, my shit lopsided. Ugh. What's happening, man? Go on, hop up in this house, man. I really want to talk about some shit that I don't know, it just kind of came to me on the path. I hear my sister in here. What's going on, Miss Sunshine?
It's this title for me. Where the hoes at?
Where the hoes at, man? I hear this shit a lot. I hear this a lot, man. I hear this statement. I hear this question. This vibration is voiced a lot in our community so often. And I wanted to use that tagline to speak about intentionality, right? Because most times that is the intention of our people when we go outside. It's either where the money at or where the hoes at. And I have just in my own path, just trying to be a lot more intentional with everything, you know, and I think that a lot of our brothers and sisters and shit, myself included, I'm not excluded from saying shit like this, you know, but I think there is a certain amount of power that can be given up when you lack intention with what you say and your actions and things of that nature. And what you really saying when you with that statement, where the hoes at, is where's the lust? You know what I'm saying? Where's the dead end relationships at? You know, where's the unfulfilled emotional connection at? I'm seeking that. That's what you saying. I'm seeking that. That's what I want. When I'm coming outside, where hoes? That's what I want. And then we have the nerve to complain. We complain when what we seek we get, and then we like, oh, I don't like that, nigga. That's what you said. And what the fuck? That's what you. And
so equivalent for females, would that be where the ball is at?
Ooh, yeah, for real. And I just I want to open up the floor. Hey man, anybody in the audience, we is on that today. So if you got something of value to offer to the conversation, please put in a request to come up on stage. We would love to hear what you say. But man, it was kind of on my mind today. I finished the Four Agreements again. I reread it. And man, I didn't really know what I was gonna talk about. But then I ended up talking to my partner, and they had went out this past weekend for a birthday, you know, got a section, popped some bottles, and I'm assuming it was live. But I hear this tagline all the time. I hear it all the time. And it was funny because the partner who I'm talking to has a girl.
That's heavy.
So you got a girl, but like you're not, and sometimes I mean the intentionality isn't always the same, right? Like sometimes shit, people just want to be around a certain vibration because that's what they used to. I want loud music, I want alcohol, I want women and men around me who are seeking nothing other than an unfulfilled moment. Right? Like that's what you're saying. I don't give a fuck, and I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people that's in the fucking audience or anybody that aligns, because I'm telling you, I'm not excluding myself from this conversation. But that's what you're saying. When you say, hey, what the hoes? My nigga, oh, hey girl, what the niggas with money? What the ballers at? You know what I'm saying? There is, man, I think the first agreement in that book is one of the first things they talk about is being impeccable with your word. Mm-hmm. Right? And man, I feel like the community has begun to speak a lot about all types of different things, but it can be very, very easy to stray away from the foundation because we speak to reflections of ourselves, right? And I believe that those who are on the platform to teach, oftentimes it's very easy to get not lost, but I would say a bit consumed with specifics in different areas of knowledge and points. And a lot of us are very much so still at the foundations of learning how to utilize our power correctly. Yes, people openly encourage and accept nothingness. Hey, I like you, girl. What the fuck? Hey man, yeah. Hey man, she's fine. And I want to speak on A, how we might have taken part in some of these things ourselves, and then B, how we've brought ourselves out of it, because everything is a process. Everything takes steps. No journey is one big leap. I don't care if you're running, walking, or crawling. Everything is step by step. So I would love to just kind of put ourselves on blast in our lowest and our highest points. Like, all right, would you like me to go first, or would you want to go first? I don't mind either way.
This whole time you've been talking about this, I'm trying to think, have I ever like gone out with them and telling me, and that's where I came up with, baller thing or whatever. And I can relate to going out with the intention of finding something outside of myself, not necessarily like I just ain't never been a gold digging type of bitch or whatever like that, but I have gone out in hopes that, some man would swoop in, you know what I'm saying? So I get that, right? And I think now I go out with a different intention, but I do remember being in a space where I was hoping to catch something, when I went out. Yeah. And I think that, it's the state of mind, like one of the 10 worlds is the world of like being in a state of desiring, in a state of want, always looking outside of ourselves for the things that we want and that we want to create in our experience, when really everything that we need is, within us. So I can definitely relate to that, and have definitely gone out, on that vibe, even if I didn't use those exact words or have those exact intentions. Like I was going outside looking for something that I really can only derive from within. Yeah. And then once I derive it within, I'll attract whatever partnership or whatever that I'm looking for, right? But I mean, I think the society that we live in cultivates a mindset for us to do just that. Like, go out and find what it is that you're looking for as opposed to creating it. So I can definitely relate to being in
when you were going out with that mindset, where do you think it was coming from within you?
A place of lack. I think.
Go deeper. Why? Lacking what?
Times in my life where I didn't love myself enough. I didn't have enough confidence in myself. And like the funny thing is like when I was going out with those intentions, niggas never approached me. Like for years and years and years and years and years, I would go out into the world and men would not approach me. At the gate, men would just never approach me. And, I've gotten all different kinds of reasons. Well, you had a resting bitch face and you just didn't look like you and da-da-da-da-da. But when I was in that state of lack, within myself, and I didn't love myself properly or even know what self-love really was, and I was going out hoping that somebody would, be interested in me, it was because I was lacking that love and that confidence within myself.
Okay. So why though? Why were you lacking that? Because I know you've worked through it. So I wanna go as deep in our own darkness to be able to display, the mirror for those that might be in the same place.
Okay, so one thing particularly is I've always been a big girl, like by society standards. Like even when I was younger, like I was still thick or whatever. And so I think a lot of us are taught to, as women, are taught to value ourselves based on our physical appearance. And if you don't fit the classic standard, beauty standards or whatever, then it is easy sometimes if you aren't taught to value yourself based on other things to think, oh, well, I'm not this or I'm not that. Just because, like, I remember when Kevin Samuels first came onto the scene and he was talking about basically in a fucked up way, but talking about how basically if women want to stop being objectified for their bodies, then we have to stop objectifying men based on their pockets and vice versa. And I think for a long time that I was, of that mindset unintentionally about myself, even though I wasn't valuing men based on their money. I understand the world that we live in says that, a woman's value is based on her body and the way that she looks physically.
Yeah. Okay. How did you bring yourself out of that? Or how have you brought yourself to the place where you are now? Yeah. I feel like that's concise enough.
For me, I think it's really about doing the inner work that I need to do in order to figure out, okay, if it's not my body that brings me value, what is my value? So understanding my intrinsic value, who I am, and how that is valuable to the world. Like even in my connections with my friends or with church and at work, like I had always been a state of, well, let me prove my value. Let me do. Yeah. And it's like now in my life, I'm coming into a situation where I understand my value is in being. My presence is my value. You know what I'm saying? Wisdom that I bring, the level of attentiveness that I bring to a situation, the shit that I notice that nobody else sees. Like those are the things that bring my, intrinsic value by me just being here. I don't have to prove myself or, dressed a certain way. I think, a lot of times when I was younger, I was putting on certain clothes that don't even fit my personality because I was like, okay, these niggas, this gonna get their attention. Or vice versa, feeling like I have to be completely covered or somebody's gonna treat me like a hoe or approach me the wrong way or the church niggas that I was trying to get, because sometimes I was going to church looking for a nigga. Yeah. Ain't gonna be interested in me if I'm dressed as who I want to be, as opposed to okay, let me fit this image so that I can attract this certain person to me. When what I have learned is the more authentic I am, the more honest I am, the more I show up as me, the better I attract in other people. The more compatibility, the more I get what it is that I really desire. And so I think that's, to answer your question, is what I'm just figuring out who I am and being more myself, showing up as me. When I go out now, it's never for a nigga to approach me. Like I be going out for community with my friends, to bond with my friends. You know what I'm saying? It's about, I ain't caught up with her. I want to hear about her life. I want to talk. I want to chill. I want to dance. I want to enjoy myself. I want to sing. I want to enjoy this music. I want to connect. I want to make memories. And, those are the things that I'm doing now. And men just flock, but to that energy of, we're not in lack. We're in abundance. Like over here where we at, it's big energy over here. So niggas don't come over here, but that's not the point of us going out. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times I don't entertain those connections anyways, because a lot of people are out with the wrong intentions, looking for the wrong thing, have something, somebody's husband and all that other shit that I don't be wanting to do any moment. But, cause there are definitely still things within my energy that I need to adjust in order to track exactly, what I want in any given moment. But I think I answered the question.
Nah, for damn sure. Man, absolutely. Shit. Whew. I ain't gonna lie, you enlightened me even more just on the experience of a woman. The experience of a woman on the journey of elevation. And because I think it's so important for each side, gender, whatever, to become extremely familiar with the other perspective. I think that is where a lot of lack of understanding comes between us, because the time is hardly ever taken to sit and listen and understand and digest the journey of the opposite side. And it never happens, hardly ever. So yeah, I really wanted to, just set the stage for you to give us that, because it's so valuable. For real.
And one thing that say, as far as like my body image is concerned, is like, so a couple years ago I went on this whole weight loss journey and I lost all of this weight. Yeah. And then I'm gonna be quite honestly, I put a lot of it back on because it became something that I wasn't as concerned with. But I think even then I did have an intention of health, but there was still a part of me that was doing it in order for it to have the social acceptance and to fit into a certain mold. Yeah. And I think now what I'm starting to realize is, yes, society has kind of made, men have a certain idea of what they want their partner to look like, and this is the ideal body. But at the end of the day, people don't want an unhealthy partner. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And for myself, I shouldn't want to be unhealthy. Yeah. And so just making sure that as I go into my journey to become healthier, it's not about weight loss. It's not about looking a certain way. It's about, am I healthy? Am I going to be able to be here for my great grandchildren? What is my lineage going to be like? Am I creating habits that I want to pass down to my children? Or am I creating things that my children have to break generational curses? Because my mama was this way, and so now I eat this way. And, they just approaching it from a different place. Hopefully so that I can have some more permanent results, as opposed to, okay, now I got down to this certain size. I like the way that I look at my clothes. I'm attracting this certain type of person, as opposed to, am I healthy and am I attracting other people who are healthy? Yeah.
Nah, for real. As a man, I feel like when I was operating from just that perspective and intention of seeking connections that were obviously a dead end, were obviously not going to supply me with what I needed. There was an addiction, not only to the habits of my life, but there was an addiction almost to the best way that I can put it. I wouldn't even say loss. It was like I was almost addicted to being unfulfilled. It was like I had gotten so used to it. That's what I sought out. I never had anything of the opposite sort. I didn't know what fulfillment really felt like. I didn't know where the true source of happiness really lied. I didn't. And they say in the wild, ignorance is no excuse and will not save you from death. And that's very, very true. Like, just because you don't know, don't mean it won't fuck you up. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's where, especially just in my experience of other men, I think there is almost even an addiction to the ignorance, because then once you come into contact with the information and the understanding, there's a certain responsibility to uphold. Now that you've come into contact with this knowing and, this new little peephole into information, there's a responsibility for you to dive deeper. And when you don't, you feel the guilt and the judgment from yourself in not doing so. Right? So, man, I feel like it's all, shit, we can even go deeper. When I was younger, I'd say even down to elementary years, right? There were a lot of experiences for me and a lot of men that I know, where there's a lot of suffering that takes place. And I could specify, that suffering, but I think everyone can understand the type of suffering that takes place in childhood, regardless of whether or not you're a popular jock type, you know what I'm saying? Or if you a bit of an outcast or anything in between. There is a lot of suffering that takes place in childhood. And I've been speaking about this a lot more lately, because that's often the frame that I like to look at childhood trauma through, because trauma will always exist. You know what I'm saying? But addressing the childhood in it is very, very important, because you don't see that you're still dealing with those things as a child until you revisit them as an adult, until you revisit them with maturity and experience and a different perspective. Those traumas will always be reflected in your behavior as such, as a child, right? So how you're responding to pain, it's not even you right now. It's you as a child until you consciously, and that's what that I think that word has a tendency to be cliched or overlooked or overused, but it's extremely powerful, and I feel like we always have to return back to it because the majority of our behavior is unconscious. No matter what you learn, no matter what state you are in life, our brain is meant to keep us safe, and our subconscious runs the majority of it. So as you get up and go through your day, there is a program running. You have to consciously revisit it and be like, oh, okay, nah, that's not how I want to do that, right? So just case in point, a man who may have dealt with fear of rejection, right? Maybe you get your heart broke in elementary, middle school, you know, and it fucks you up. And this is what's the fucking word I'm looking for? You know, when something is generally said, what's the word?
Like a cliche?
I guess. Whatever. Cool. Cliche. I'm just going to stick with that. But this is the thing that I even see a lot of women talk about in kind of a dismissive way, right? Like, nigga, you got your heart broke, then you just gonna do every woman wrong because of that. And it's like, yes, that is childish. Not running away from that at all. That's childish. But it's childish because the child hasn't been properly addressed. You left that child behind and tried to act like it didn't bother you anymore, right? But what you say and what you think isn't nearly as powerful as what you do. And what you do reflects who you are. Like, for real. I don't give a damn how many affirmations you want to say, bro. I don't care how many books you want to read. If your actions don't change, then there is still something within you that needs some alteration, right? So, as I moved to a place of, and I wouldn't say that I'm 100% there, but I'm more there than I ever have been. As I moved in my journey to a place of internal fulfillment, I'm at a very similar place like you. I began to go out with a complete different intention. You know, even for me, being in the entertainment industry, right? I began to become a lot more concise with my approach to outside activities. If I'm going somewhere, and I don't often get the chance to spend time with friends and stuff. So what you said was dead on point. Like that, if I'm going out with people I fuck with, I'm only here because that is so important to my heart and my spirit now. But even being a rapper, being a videographer, being a businessman that sees opportunity in going outside, I began to, all right, who's the DJ? Who's the promoter? You know, who are the bottle girls that seem to have consistent tables, right? Like even just being more studious of one's environment, whether it's a potential environment or one that you exist in now. It speaks a lot to your intentions, and your intentions will be reflected in your actions, and your actions will be the heaviest part of what's reflected in your results. And that was a heavy part on what I wanted to touch on with just this whole where the hoes at, where the niggas at, you know, where the money at, because these things that we speak and then begin to chase, they become heavily reflected in who we are and our results. And I think that only when we return to the core of what the hell is really going on and what we're saying and intending for ourselves can we change where we're going. And yeah, man, that was kind of it for me, man. I think I guess for me as I moved out of that, what helped me to move out of that was making the mistakes, right? Those dead end connections, going through the cycle. I think also, um, man, we were talking about a couple of weeks ago nature, right, and how cyclical nature is in a lot of ways, shit in all ways. And I think that definitely helped me in removing judgment from my cycles, allowing myself to go through cycles of behavior, but I want to say highlighting, that's not the word I really want to use, but highlighting reflection. Sometimes we are so consumed in life, what we're doing, what we want, how we're feeling, who's around, what's not happening, that we don't really see the power in taking a step back and reflecting. Often, reflection is so important. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
I think reflection is, even if you fucking up, bro, you might not be doing the best you can do right now. But placing yourself in a cycle, right? Because everything is cyclical, whether it's down to the weather, whether it's down to shit, things within ourselves and in our life, everything is cyclical. And we need to place a intentional cycle of reflection on our behavior and in our lives. Because that is, I think, a really strong part of progression. It can be very hard to progress in something if you're not taking the time to properly measure, right? Like if you if you walk around the block every day, right? You don't really have any intentions with it. You just like, hey, I like to walk around the block. You're consuming the experience of it. You just walk around the block every day, but there isn't any real progression happening. I think evolution is almost a reflex for humans. You kind of almost can't help but to evolve. Now, in which direction, that's up to you. But I think intentionality brings power. It brings a lot of power and strength to whatever you're doing, or the lack of. The lack of intentionality can bring a lot of power against you, because when you don't have intentionality embedded in your actions and in your desires and in the things that you bring forth, it can hurt you way more than help you. And I'm noticing you be taking notes and shit. You're amazing. What you got over there?
The things that you say, like I thought of so many things while you was talking. I was like, I gotta start writing this shit down. Okay. Because I like what you was just saying about walking, right? So today I went on, like I had this specific path in my neighborhood that I walk, right? And I ain't walked it in forever because I've been like, I don't give a fuck about this weight. Like I need to deal with my emotional shit, and the weight is gonna fall out, which is true. But at the same time, like there is a physical aspect that I need to put to it, just from a logical standpoint of no, bitch, you can't just sit in your bed and deal with your emotional issues and eat and think that you're gonna be bitch, go walking. So I just remember that taking this route, right? And when I start out, you're a little heavier, so you're gonna burn more calories by walking this same walk. Yeah. But if you don't increase the walk as you start to lose the weight, it has less and less and less and less and less of an impact. And you're like, why am I not making any progress toward my goals? Well, it's because you're doing this same thing that's not really the same thing, because you're not carrying around as much weight as you walk and you're not making as much progress. So, like, I need to set my thing to burn a certain number of calories based on the weight that I'm at right now. And then when I walk it the next time, if I update my weight, it's not going to burn as many calories to make this same walk. So I need to walk a little bit longer. I need to do a little bit more. I need to speed up as I walk. I need to take a different route. I need to go somewhere where there's an incline. I need to go out, get on the trail and hike. You know what I'm saying? And if I want to make the same amount of progress that I made just walking around the block at, the way that I was at initially. And so I just thought about that. Like, you do have to have some type of goal, some type of intentionality if you want to have continual, consistent progress, right? And then when you were talking about the inner child work or whatever, I was like, I would be remiss not to plug myself, right? Like, so over this past year, every Tuesday, I've been doing it for a year now, I host the inner child space. and we do inner child work in that room every Tuesday on Clubhouse. I host the space, and I'm thinking about expanding it and trying to figure out how I want to incorporate that in what I do outside of that space. Because it is, we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, and everybody's not going to resonate with the sound technology. But I do feel like the inner child, like I'm good as fuck at helping people deal with their inner child issues. So I'm trying to figure out how I want to bring that out into the world. But if anyone is interested in doing some inner child work, like right over here, I got you, because I do it every week. Yeah. And I think one of the most surprising things about doing this inner child work has been how much the wise inner child within me helps me to parent. Whenever I'm needing to figure out, okay, how do I deal with this situation? I can go to the 12-year-old me and be like, okay, sis, what did you need right here when you was doing this? Like, damn. What could I have said? What information did I need? And it's like that's been one of the biggest things for inner child healing. And it's crazy because just today I was asking my friend, I was like, well, how long do I have to create this new pattern for you to believe that this is not the situation you had in 7th grade? Yeah. That I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But like you said, when we have something that happens to us early on in life, if we don't consciously go back to that experience and figure out what story we tell ourselves and tell ourselves a new story, we will just keep recycling that experience. Even if we get new energy from new people, we're going to create that experience ourselves by projecting it onto other people. Yeah. So like just being cognizant of, okay, well, how am I projecting my past into my current situation? But you can't know that if you don't ever do the work to go back and deal with yourself, right? And then the last thing is I feel like you made me get bucking naked on here and talk about my insecurities and why I was out searching for niggas. And you really didn't really touch on what the hoes were feeling for you. Like, what was lacking in you when you was out trying to go out and find the hoes?
Man. How can I put it into words? As a child, my relationship with my mother was the foundation for both my happiness and my sadness. It was just a lot. It was so fucking extreme. Like, either I was God's gift to earth or I was a fucking demon spawn, and I think that especially around the age of like 11, 12, I had a deep hatred for my mother. Oh my God. Like, mind you, the fucking lady, I go to middle school, I'm 12. I go from the elementary school I've been going to a middle school. She comes to work at the school. Like, bruh. So, man, I remember I told everybody at school I hate her. I used to tell and mind you, my mama is like a God-given teacher. Like, there's no school she's ever been to that she isn't the most popular teacher, the most liked. Like, so everybody loves Miss Tatum. She got pictures of me every fucking where, and I'm just, fuck her. You know what I'm saying? I swear, I'm telling everybody, fuck her. I hate that bitch. Like, and there was. Man, my mama instilled a true dichotomy within me. So when I started going to teen clubs then too. You from around here, right? So you know that there was a fucking age where teen clubs was really popping. It was a real thing.
Live, like if people fucking in there.
There would be and I don't mean, this is just true. There would be so much destruction and death these days if we had that shit today. These children cannot have that shit. Bro, if you're not from here or if you're not familiar with the DM from like the time of about 2003 to like 09, there was
a weird ass time. You're right.
There were literally teen clubs. Like, if you were over 18, you couldn't get in. And if you were under
Venice Beach.
What? Beat it. Oh, that's crazy. I just brought that shit up to somebody the other day. But like, if you were under 13, you couldn't get in. If you were over 18, you couldn't get in. And that was my first times going out. Let's go out on the weekends to teen clubs. And that was the first times when I realized that was like our whole thing. Man, where are hoes, man? Where the bitches at? You know what I'm saying? And there was a real thing in my heart and spirit that, man, I think I felt a real desire for a nurturing feminine energy because I felt like my mama would like dangle it in front of my face. Like my mama would be like the sweetest, most giving mama, and then anything could snap her into the most demeaning, hateful thing coming out of her mouth. And mind you, yes, I've forgiven that. Shorty is operating from her own pain. You know, we've gotten to a place within our relationship now that's great. But back then, it affected me in such a deep way that when I look back on it now, I think I had like a hatred even like for women. You know, like there was this energy in me that I and I don't even think it was a hatred as if I wanted to hurt women, right? But there was this urge to prove that I was worthy, you know, like that I was worthy of affection. I was worthy of your attention and you giving me praise for who I am rather than me affording that to myself. You know, I used to go out and shit. I think around the age of maybe like 11, but it was probably like right when I turned 12 because I'm a summer baby. So school years and summers kind of like blended for me. But I like finessed my mama into giving me my child support money, right? So my pops would send like his little check or his little money every month, and I would get that shit and go shopping for clothes every month. So I'm the flyest nigga alive. What? I'm buying, bro. I used to buy shit just because it was expensive. Like, just because, bro, I had so many throwback jerseys, it was ridiculous. Like, $200 for a jersey? Bet. So what? And I had no value of money. I had no value of value, hell. And I'm going out and I'm receiving these unfulfilled ass compliments. Oh, I like your clothes. Oh, you got this and that. You know, I'm making sure to embed myself in the most popular of circles, you know, and just the way I'm operating is completely from a state of unfulfillment and from a lack of nurturing energy in my life. Man, shit, we can even go deeper. My relationships with my older brothers. It was really, really fucked up. That was the beginning of my abandonment issues. I think everybody kind of has it to a degree, but mine came from my older siblings. I used to, oh my God, you know, you a little brother to big brother, so you want to do everything with your older siblings, and I would often 9 times out of 10 get left outside. Like, no, bro, hell nah, you can't come, and that would turn into tears. And man, even looking back at what I'm saying now, those tears would be consoled from my mother. My mother then though it was like this undependable nurturing energy. So then I think it developed what can I call it? This almost lack of being able to accept that, you know, being able to accept even I wouldn't say being coddled, but hell, being coddled, being comforted, you know, being nurtured, being loved, being embraced. There was something in my heart and in my spirit that felt like that was bullshit. It was bullshit because if that shit don't last the second I piss you off, now you hate me. You know, now it's a whole nother different energy. So I think that really began to build up. I think I might have misspoke. It wasn't because I can't imagine myself having a hatred for women. That's just fucking weird. But there was like this, man, this hatred towards the possibility of that nurturing love and environment and embracing being taken away from me. Hold on, I think somebody
really hate is fear.
exactly. You know, so there was so much of that embedded in me. It was so much. And that used to get reflected in the behavior of shit, what I hoes, because I know if I can go out here and appease myself by appeasing this bullshit for a little while, when I go out, I'm that nigga. Shit, you know what I'm saying? I get your house phone number. We caking after school and shit, and I can project this image that then pleases me for a temporary amount of time, and yeah, I don't know if you want me to keep. I can keep going deeper.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Now you beat me. Now you beat me. I was like, damn, I didn't even go that deep, but I feel you helping me. I think it really helped me to hear you. I know you recanted a little bit, but it really helped me to hear you say that at 12 years old you had this disdain for your mother, because like my 12-year-old right now, like I be like, he ain't feeling me.
Yeah.
He's not feeling me. And I know that that's a natural, progression or whatever. But I had to like put a mirror up, to myself of like, well, and I can think of times when I was this super harsh mom. And so over this last Christmas break, I had an opportunity to take a nurturing approach to disciplining something that was super duper serious. And I could have like really come down hard on him and made him feel, bad. But instead, I just found a really spiritual, ingenious way to make him realize how the choices that he was making are misaligned with the future that he wants for himself. Yeah. And I didn't have to use any violent speech or any violent words. I came across a post the other day where it was like, men who are not emotionally intelligent to stop from hitting women and acting violence upon women is the same thing as women who don't have the emotional intelligence to tame their mouth in conversations, because that mental abuse is more harmful than that physical abuse. Like the shit that a lot of women say with their mouths and the violence that we exact on people with the things that we say, like we gotta be held accountable for that. Like our children feel that in their souls. I remember like what you talking with the mom of like in one moment, like it's all these high praises and I feel great about myself. But if I make the smallest misstep, it's you have for this and you ungrateful and just like all of this stuff of tearing me down, you fat mouth, and like just, things that, my mother didn't cuss. So, it was that same energy of like tearing me down from the person that's supposed to be building me up. And so when I feel disrespected by my children, I've been challenged with the task to take a step back and not return disrespect and mirror this energy, but help them to see like, okay, the way that you're speaking to me right now is inappropriate. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you don't respect me. It doesn't mean that I love you any less, but I'm also not going to tolerate this type of interaction between the two of us, and like finding that medium of, okay, well, how do I discipline in this situation without becoming disrespectful and being the thing that I'm telling them not to be, and confusing them and giving them nurturing one moment and the wicked witch of the west another moment, and fucking up their feminine energy and their relationship with women within themselves. And like I just appreciate what you were saying, because it's like right where I'm at right now of learning how to, first of all, I used to have to be their mama and their daddy, and now I don't have to do that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do I get all the way into this feminine role and really be an example of what feminine energy looks like, feels like, and in its best state? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I appreciate you saying that. I don't feel so bad that he hate me, but you know what I mean? It's just a part of, coming into adolescence, realizing that the adults around you are flawed. Yeah. For real. It was the thing that said you go into adolescence when you realize that adults are flawed and all the adults around you are flawed. And then you go into adulthood when you forgive them for being flawed. And then you go into wisdom when you forgive yourself. And I was like, oh, that's profound as fuck. Man. Because, those are the steps. Literally. You have to come into it. And I feel like so many people get stuck at the place where they realize the flaws in the adults. And it's like, you can't get stuck right there. You have to forgive, and then you have to forgive yourself. And sometimes we you got to learn to forgive yourself first, right? Even to extend that forgiveness to other people. But I just really like the way that was phrased and worded. We've been on here for an hour.
Hey man, this was really really good though, man. This was really good, and I just want to voice how thankful I am to have built this rhythm that we have with each other. Because I appreciate that. Just ask me, just ask. I'll give it. It's I don't know why it seems to be kind of fucking difficult for me to give without being asked from that place. I'm gonna put more attention toward getting better there, but I think I don't know. Damn, it's making me
like give myself some grace in that area. It's nothing wrong with needing an invitation. That for me, that's how I'm set up. Like I need that invitation, and just knowing that about myself, and then like you said, being willing to give myself the invitation when it's appropriate. Because this is our platform. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's your turn, it's mine, so we can invite ourselves to say whatever we want to say on. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like being clear about when I actually do need an invitation, and then when I can extend myself an invitation, when my presence is the invitation, and just being more open and accepting to that. So we together on that journey. But I'm going to ask you. Especially, I was like, you could have me out here telling these people about me. Come with me. Come with me. Doing this together.
I don't feel like you. You right. You right. But nah, man, hey, if you watching, if you here now, if you're coming back, and just, catching up, we really appreciate it. Whatever called you to take this energy in, please comment, share it. The Wednesday 7 p.m. Zooms are still going. It's a wonderful community. Please come in there. And let us know if you need an invitation. We'll get you the information. It's at 7 p.m. Central Time on Zoom, and you are more than welcome. The conversations get very deep. It's a very open dialogue. The community is fairly it's moderate. It's always a good 20 to 30 people on, and man, the conversations and the progression is wonderful. So if you would like to be present, just let me know. Let Miss Sunshine know, and I feel fucking complete. You got anything else, sis?
I just want to add that both of us offer individual coaching. Both of us coach. Both of us would love the opportunity to get what you want on one. If you feel connected to us, if you feel that
absolutely,
you resonate with the message that we are sending, or if there's something that either one of us have that can help you, like we want to. You know what I'm saying? That's what we out here for. That's what we out here doing. So definitely feel free to connect with either of us, whether it be because you want to hear about the community, or if you just want a one-on-one connection with one of us, or whatever resources we can offer you. That's what we're here for.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Well, look, man, you have a great rest of your day. Your energy is so radiant right now. I'm grateful for, in place of, whoever you get to touch today, because I know it's going to be wonderful. For real, for real. And I'm going to see you soon, all right?
All right, thank you.
All right, Miss Sunshine. Peace, y'all.